Hello everybody and welcome to Random Real Talk. This series is going to be about web hosting. Now, for anybody who wants to get into web hosting, overall it's a very oversaturated market. Okay. I promise you're not going to become rich overnight doing this, but it is a nice way to earn some extra income, and with time, patience, and a reasonable investment, you can start your own web hosting business. Now, today I want to talk about some of the different types of markets of web hosting. First, you have your low-end market. These are the I guess you can almost describe it as the Walmart of web hosting. Okay. These are the dirt cheap prices, almost too good to be true at times. Then you have your mid-range web hosting. Okay, this would be what I would consider kind of your average prices. Now, I guess you're wondering what's a average price for web hosting. I would say anywhere from $5 to $10 per month would be considered average for mid-range web hosting. Now, these typically have 24-hour support. Usually, if it's somewhat of a bigger company, you'll have more than one person replying to tickets. They usually offer live chat support. Then you have high-end web hosting. These are the ones that are pretty costly. I would say $15 a month and up for shared hosting. I would consider that high end. These plans usually don't come with a lot of space or bandwidth, but you get excellent customer support. For some people, that is what they need. You need to decide on what services you're going to offer. Are you going to offer shared reseller hosting, VPS, dedicated servers? What you going to offer? Are you going to be a one-stop shop, or are you just primarily going to focus on one area specifically? Now that we have that part covered, now you've decided that you want to get into this business. What do I do? Well, first you need to think of a name for your company. Okay. You need to find out if it's trademarked. Is anybody else using that name? If that name isn't taken right now, was it ever used before, and does that name have any bad reputation with it? If it's a name that was used and had a bad reputation, I would highly suggest you stay away from it, because unfortunately people will associate you with the original company. No matter how much you claim that you're not part of it, they will try to eat you alive, because they're going to swear up and down you are still that same company, even though you had nothing to do with it. So always have a good look on Google, webhostingtalk.com. Always check that name out. If it pops up, You might want to stay away from that name. You need a business plan. Now, to be completely honest, some people don't have a business plan when they start into this industry. I highly suggest having a business plan. That way you know exactly how you're going to do things going forward. Everything should be based on your business plan. You're going to need some software to manage your customers. Some of the software includes Webhost Manager CS. You have Plista, which is another one. I've used both over the years, and they both have their good points and their weaknesses. Currently, I am using Plista. Overall, I find it to be a little more flexible, but unfortunately, it is missing some key features that would be really nice to have. There's other software, and we will cover that in more detail in another episode. Next, you're going to need hosting. You got to put your customers on something, right? So you need to decide, are you going to start with opening up a reseller account? Are you going to go for a VPS, or are you going to jump straight in and get a dedicated server? I highly suggest starting with a reseller account. It'll just make life easier. Things will be much cheaper, and grow from there. Now, me personally, I started off with a VPS, and eventually I outgrew that, and I went for a dedicated server, and that's where I've stayed ever since. Alright, now that you decide that, you need to get your website up. You have a couple options as far as that goes. If you're good with web design and all that stuff, then by all means make your own design and website. That way you have something unique. You need to think about how are you going to accept payments for this new service that you get ready to launch. By far the most popular option is PayPal for web hosting. Simply go to paypal.com and sign up for a business account. Again, you have to have a business account because you're going to need a way for your software to communicate with PayPal, so you know when people pay you and it's tracked in the system without you have to do all that stuff manually. Okay. So you go there. You also have for debit and credit cards, you can go to Stripe.com, and that will give you access for credit card payments. That's a good option for people who aren't able to use PayPal and pay. Once you get that set up, you need to advertise. By far the biggest marketplace for advertising web hosting is webhostingtalk.com. I have been using this site for a couple of years now, and that's how I've gotten, I'd say, about 95% of my customers. Now, the downside to that site is the second you have a problem, your customers are going to run on there and claim, oh my god, so-and-so's down, Joe's host is down, did they go out of business? Meanwhile, it might just be a network issue, or maybe something with the server, stuff like that. So just kind of be aware of that. You also get your scammers who like to order services from you, and they will almost commit fraud in some cases. They'll sign up and then they'll do a chargeback with their bank account, or they'll file a false PayPal claim, getting their money back like 2 minutes after getting the service issued to them. It's just, there's a lot of things that happen, so you do have to be careful with customers from there. And not only just from there, but just in general, you have to screen your customers very well, otherwise they will screw you over if they catch wind that you're a nice provider who doesn't do any type of checks whatsoever. Okay, so definitely watch that. The lower your prices are on there, more the chances are that you're going to see fraud come your way, especially when you're first starting out. You know, you get excited, you see all this money coming in, and you're happy to take any order that comes through. Don't do that. I'm telling you, do not do that. You will regret it at the end of the day. Now, you have to set up your, if you have a mobile phone like a smartphone, make sure you have it set up so that you get any type of communications there from your customers. You want to know when someone signs up. You want to know when someone pays. You want to know when somebody submits a support ticket. Have all that stuff come to your phone. It can be a real lifesaver from sitting in front of a computer all day. Well, that just about wraps up for this episode. If you have any questions, please leave a comment below, and I will address them in a future video. Stay tuned for the next episode. Until then, stay tuned. Thank you for tuning into this podcast. Please subscribe to the channel. Please give it a thumbs up if you like this podcast. And please share. The more shares we get, the more people find out about us. So we could always use the extra help. You have a good night.